IDO is basically an initial decentralized offering. What that essentially means is if there is a project that is working in the DeFi space, they are trying to build, a DeFi protocol. They can initially raise money by going to the public to buy. The public can perhaps buy their tokens, and that way they'll be able to raise money for the project. It's very similar to an IPO, except that the stage of the company is completely different. In an IDO, you basically are going very early to your retail user, telling them about your vision, telling them about what you've built so far, who are your investors, who are your stakeholders, and then you are asking them to partake in this particular round where they can invest in a discounted, perhaps possibly a discounted price for your token, which is pretty much like token is like equity in Web3. Okay, so you can buy those tokens and you can put in some money, which will help them raise a certain amount of capital. So hi, I'm Tarusha Bhumta. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Unifarm. Unifarm is the go-to place, the way we visualize it is a go-to place for retail users to be able to maximize the yields on the tokens that they're already holding, the crypto tokens. And for projects themselves, any projects that are raising money in the form of tokens usually don't really have a utility associated with the token, set token initially, right? Because they are raising money to build that project. But what happens vis-a-vis, traditional investment is when, your company goes public, that is like in a decade's time, you have like, a considerable amount of cred vis-a-vis your platform. But that might not be the case if you are raising money via tokens, that, your tokens might not really have a lot of utility, but they will hit the market. And in order to give them space to grow, to make their brand shine, and also to make sure that their token has an additional utility, we have Unifarm, which is primarily a platform for group farming and staking. We get like some projects together, we create a farm, and the end user is able to stake any token. Think of staking like creating an FD in a bank, that you are kind of locking your tokens. There is no impermanence loss there. There is no risk. Your principal is always safe. You're just locking your tokens in a smart contract, and you're getting a yield or an interest on top of it in the form of the other tokens as well, which are part of the same farm. So the target audience for Unifarm, basically the retail users these are users who are already dabbling in DeFi. They already have invested in crypto. They are holding certain tokens, right? The audience again is pretty much very global. There are a lot of people who are joining in, say from Europe and North America and South America that are getting whitelisted and utilizing Unifarm. So ICOs were initial coin offering that is pretty much similar, that a project is building in Web3 and they are going to be using blockchain. They are tokenizing something, and they are offering these tokens to the retail user to be able to raise capital. The only difference between ICO and IDO is that in the case of IDO, it is supposed to be a decentralized offering. That is like, it's supposed to be like, perhaps the capital is being raised for a dApp, or it's being done on a decentralized platform. With ICOs, the only difference is that this is not a decentralized organization that is doing it. It's probably like, a company that is doing it, or an entity that is doing it. And it's perhaps not even happening on a decentralized platform. It's happening on a centralized platform. MSMEs and SMEs can utilize IDOs as well, because usually what happens is in Web3 that when you are raising money, you will do like a seed round, you'll do like a private round, and then you do like a public round, which is essentially an IDO, or that that you open up for the public before actually listing your token on any exchange. So once you have like some angels and VCs on board, and you're doing well, then potentially you can get your brand awareness out there, and then obviously give your token a utility to begin with, so that once your token gets listed initially, there is no pumping and dumping happening, that people are just sort of selling your token because there's no utility associated with it. They actually know that, okay, there is another utility associated with your token, and that way they would be able to sort of leverage on that. I think SMEs and MSMEs first should decide whether they're going to take the leap into Web3. Kind of response that we've seen in terms of entrepreneurs and the startups has been absolutely fabulous. It's very promising. These are very intelligent, experienced people, right? Web3 is new, but these guys have the right experience. They've worked in SaaS and in tech, and they're bringing that experience, which is very valuable, into Web3. So I think it's fabulous for people who are willing to learn and unlearn and relearn, and get new notions in their head. Web3 is the place to be. How are IDOs faring in India? But I know of a lot of Indian projects that have done IDOs, and they've gone on IDO platforms like Launchpool, Launchpad, Zendit, and there are quite a few IDO platforms that exist, and they've done like their IDOs there. Lots of Indian projects, and I can name a few. There was Argo, I think they did it. And now I think they're called Spheron now, DeFi, Router, all of these, they're Indian projects. And at some point or the other, they have done, the initial decentralized offering bit as well. And the Indian retail user, I think, is savvy enough to be investing in these IDOs and to understand that, okay, this can be a risky but a good opportunity, like a high risk, high reward sort of an opportunity. So in India, what happens is that the retail user, they are thinking more on the lines of just centralized exchanges. They are not thinking, now they've started, but they're not thinking about exploring a large part of the NFTs and the DeFi protocols that are there. It's very bright, but the percentage is very, very low. There are mostly the users, crypto users, they are on centralized exchanges, and they're just dealing with, trading, etc. And that is essentially why these taxation, the policy that has come in, and the kind of information that we're getting out of the parliament vis-a-vis the TDS and, not offsetting, being able to offset losses, etc. But having said that, I do feel IDOs in general have a very good, the prospects are very good.